What's up guys, it's James here, and in today's video, I'm gonna be answering some of the most common questions that I get asked about managing other people's properties on Airbnb. So I've got some common questions written down on my phone here that I get asked all the time, and I just wanna start answering through a couple of these. Now, before we dive into this and I start answering your guys' questions, I wanna remind you that there is a link in the description down below to a free training. Again, completely free training that's gonna show you exactly how I was able to build a six-figure business managing other people's properties on Airbnb. And I built that business in under 12 months, and I'm gonna break it down so that you can do it even faster. So again, that training is linked in the description down below. It's completely free to check out. It's gonna walk you through absolutely every step and answer all your questions about managing other people's properties on Airbnb and getting started even with no experience, no background, nothing, and without having to buy, rent, furnish any properties at all. So I would highly recommend that you click the link in the description down below and check out that training before it's too late. Make sure you register and grab yourself a spot, and let's go ahead and get started. So the first question that I get asked all the time is what are the best properties to manage? I think a lot of these questions are people just wanting, okay, I want the quickest results. I want to get things as quickly as possible. And that makes sense. Like, it makes sense to take that shortcut. If you can learn from someone else and you can get all these tips and tricks without having to figure it out yourself the hard way, that honestly is always the best way to do things when it comes to building a business. That's exactly why I put together the trainings that I have, why I coach people the way that I do. So yeah, this is a really great question, honestly. Like, what are the best properties to manage? Ultimately, it depends a little bit based on where you're managing the properties, but the way you want to think about it is whatever properties are going to make the most money, those are the ones that you should be managing. Because the great thing about managing other people's properties on Airbnb is the way you get compensated is that you're not making a fixed dollar amount per property, right? You're actually getting a percentage of the revenue on a property. And there's a lot of things that you can do to improve the performance of a property to make it worthwhile and to make your income higher. Things you can do to optimize the performance. But at the end of the day, if you look at, for example, a 4-bedroom property, it might have the potential to gross $100,000, $120,000, $130,000 in a year. Whereas a studio apartment, in most markets, it's only gonna have the potential to gross maybe $50,000, $60,000, maybe $70,000 in a year. So that being said, usually larger properties tend to be a little bit better to manage, but overall, you just want to look at your market specifically and look for the highest performing properties in your market or the market that you're looking to manage properties in if you're doing it remotely, whatever it might be. The ones that make more money overall are going to make you more money, and generally you're not going to be proportionally working that much more for those larger properties. Once you get into really high-end luxury properties, yeah, you're working more for your money because there's just more to do as a property manager. But for the most part, the difference between managing a 1-bedroom or studio apartment versus managing a 4-bedroom apartment or 4-bedroom house is not going to be that much, but you're going to make a lot more money doing it. So you can just make more money with the same inputs. So number 2 is the best location. That's another question I get asked a lot. Like, what's the best area? Where should I focus? Where should I manage properties? And again, that really depends. It depends on what you're trying to do. If you want to do full service or if you want to do remote. A lot of people want to do full service management. They want to work and take care of everything, in which case I generally recommend staying relatively close to where you're at because it'll just make things easier. It's not that you have to do it that way. It's just that it's easier. If you're doing pre-check-in management, which is another one we talk about in the training down below, again, if you don't know what I'm talking about, then don't worry too much about it. You can check out the training down below to learn more about all that. But if you're doing pre-check-in management, then that's when I recommend kind of discerning a little bit more on the location, because really at that point you can go just about anywhere. And for that, I like to look for areas where number 1, regulations are really nice and friendly, and where ideally the economy is pretty reliant or dependent on short-term rentals. That's always a great one. And I like to go where there's relatively low competition, not in terms of other property managers. That I don't really care too much about, but I do like to look for areas that are kind of underserved with short-term rentals. So I don't mean go and find a place that's got like 3 short-term rental properties, but I like to look for those kind of underserved markets where there's not as many short-term rentals available as there is demand for those short-term rentals, because that just makes it really easy to skyrocket performance and Typically in areas like that, you get a lot of word of mouth working in your favor, so you can grow really quickly. The other great thing is just to look for areas that are underserved with property managers. That can be really great. Not that I care too much about competition when it comes to property managers, but there are some markets where there's like people want property managers but just don't have them. They're just not available. That can be really great as well because it's just so easy to get clients in those areas. How do I get my first client with no experience? This one I get asked all the time. Like, why would a property owner trust me to manage their property when I've never managed someone's property before? And it's this kind of like catch-22, where to get your first property, a lot of people feel like they need to have their first property to get their first property. And the thing to remember is that that's how everyone has ever felt ever about doing anything new, literally ever. Like, people feel that way about getting a new job where they go, why would someone hire me when I don't have experience in this job? I need to get experience to get the experience. People feel this way about starting any new business. Why would someone buy my service when I haven't got the track record, got the reviews, got the experience? People feel this way about launching their listing on Airbnb. They go, well, why would someone book my place when they could book another place that has reviews, has a track record? And the reality is, like, there's a lot of different ways that you can get the job done. You're not required to have a whole big track record and have a bunch of reviews. Does that stuff make it easier? Sure, absolutely. Is it going to be easier to get your 10th and 20th client than it is to get your first? Yeah, I'd say so. But that doesn't mean that it's going to be objectively very hard to get that first property. At the end of the day, it's important to remember that people are paying you and they're hiring you to solve their problems. So as long as you can show them and convince them that you can solve their problems effectively, they're going to choose to work with you. Now, one thing that helps convince people of that is for you to be able to show them, hey, I've worked with these people and I've solved this problem for these people before. But that's not the only way to do it. There's a number of other ways. And again, inside the free training link down below, we go through all these in depth. There's only so much I can get into in this video right here. But you just have to think about it from that framework. That's kind of the lens you want to look at through is, hey, my job here to get this property under management is going to be to show them that I can solve their problems. Now, given that I can't show them that by showing them my past clients, how else can I show them and prove them and get them convinced of the fact that I can solve their problems? And there's a whole bunch of really great creative ways to do this that make it very easy, a lot easier than most people expect to get that very first client. So again, if you want the full training on exactly the step-by-steps, all the tools we use to do this, everything, then check out that training in the description down below. Next is, can I really do this passively? A lot of people ask me, like, can I really do this passively? Is this really a passive income business? And I like to kind of really address this head on in first off saying that there really is no such thing as passive income except for maybe investing in index funds. Really, even if you invest in individual stock, if you're actually investing, I mean, you're not just gambling and just throwing money at it, then it's not passive because you had to research to find that stock. That's time that you put into it. So really, there's not any income except for maybe index fund investing, where if you're not really doing any research around it, you can just put your money there, park it, make a return, or putting your money in a high interest savings account. Anything outside of that, I wouldn't really call passive income. There's no such thing in this world as something for nothing. No business is going to just create itself and just have money filling up your bank account without you doing any work. So if that's your definition of passive income, then no, it's not a passive income business. Nothing is a passive income business. But if your definition of a passive income business is a bit different and more in line with what mine is, then I'd say yes. So the way I think about it is, for a business to be passive, what I would consider passive, we're kind of using the more loose definition that allows businesses to be passive, that's a business where you can set up systems and structures and have the business manage itself relatively well once the groundwork is built, once the foundation is built, once the clients are in place. You can kind of set it on autopilot and then work on it for maybe an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours a week and have it run really effectively on its own. Now, does this business meet that criteria? Absolutely, because the key ingredients to that is, number one, you need to have a system in place so that you're constantly making money without having to go and hustle for it. If you look at, for example, the contrast, selling real estate is a non-passive business, highly active, because as soon as you sell one property, you're back to square one. You've got to go find another property to sell it. It takes all the hustle. You're making this lumpy income. Whereas with property management, you're making recurring monthly income. So once you've done the work of getting that first client, your job's kind of done for the next couple of years while you manage that property. All you have to do is manage it ongoingly, and you keep having this money come in month after month after month after month after month. So then From there, to make it more passive, all you have to do is then put the systems in place so that management activity can happen without you being the one doing it, and do that in a way where you're still really profitable on it. So again, we show you how to do that inside the free training, inside our programs, show you how to do that. You can absolutely do that. And the great thing is you can do it with 10, 15, 20 properties. So is it passive in that you can just, have something for nothing? Absolutely not. But is it passive in the sense that you can build a business, put in the work up front to build a business and build the systems so that long term you can have a business that's producing income that's disproportionate to how much you're working on it, and you're only working, maybe a few hours a week to manage the business? Yes, absolutely, you can hit that. It takes the right systems. It takes work early on. You have to build that foundation, but it absolutely can be done. And then another one, how much can I really make? This is a question I get asked all the time as well. How much can I really expect to make doing this? And that totally depends on where you're located. It also depends on, more than anything, on your work ethic, what your goals are. And when I say it depends on where you're located, really, the only thing that depends on where you're located is how much you can earn per property. I would argue that you can earn just as much total, no matter where you live, where you're located, but per property, it might be different. And based on the properties that you're managing as well. But how much can you make per property? You're generally looking at about $700 to $1,200 a month. Now that can be even higher. You can be making $2,000 per property per month if you're managing more high-end properties or just more high-performing properties. How much can you make total? $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month for sure, but that totally depends on how much energy you're putting in, how many clients you have the ambition to bring on, how much income you actually want to make. Because let's be honest, frankly, a lot of people are totally happy to just get to $5,000, $10,000 a month and just chill, not really focus on growing from there, just kind of sit back and enjoy it. And that's totally valid. If you want to have a lifestyle business, then it makes sense. You want to do that. You want to set that goal, and there's no sense in chasing after something that you don't actually have the ambition to chase after. So it really depends, but really, you can grow this quite large. It just depends on your ambition, what you're looking to do. Now, I've got a bunch more questions, but I can see that my time is getting quite long in this video. If you did like this format, if you want me to do more videos like this, then let me know. Give me a like button, hit that like button. That's the best way to let me know that you like this content and you want more videos like this. If you have other questions, leave them for me in the comment section. If you have questions that you want me to address in another video like this, just type them into the comment section. Let me know there. I'm happy to get them answered in another video. And again, I just want to remind you guys, if you really want the detailed walkthrough of exactly how to build a six-figure business managing other people's properties on Airbnb, then be sure to check out that training linked in the description down below. It is so in-depth, it's not even funny. We walk through absolutely everything, and it's completely free. Make sure you register for that before it's too late. And last but not least, if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit that subscription button to stay up to date. We post 2 new videos every single week, so you'll want to hit that button so you stay up to date with the channel. And I'll see you in the next video.